Hello, students of THEO 1004, Interpreting the New Testament. This week, we did Paul the last time we met, and then we had a break, and this week we're moving into what we call the Deuteropauline epistles, or some people call them the Disputed Pauline epistles, as well as the epistles known as the pastoral epistles. And what we normally would have done today, if we had met together in person, would have been a primary text workshop. Before any lectures on these writings, or before reading your textbook, I would have broken you up into groups and given you excerpts from primary texts. Some of them from genuine Pauline epistles, some of them from the Disputed Pauline epistles, some of them from Pauline-related material from the 1st and 2nd century that did not make it into the New Testament canon at any time, and we would have focused in on excerpts that had to do mostly with the view of the body and the view of sex and the view of marriage. And I would have gotten you to just read them very carefully to look for the view of marriage and sexuality that the text is promoting, and to try to notice differences. Well, obviously we can't do that in person, but we're going to do it solo. So what you have on Moodle right now is a set of slides that walk you through primary text excerpts and ask you some questions. And so what I would like you to do is to read them carefully on your own and look at the text view of the body, of marriage, of sexuality, and then see if you can find any differences. And the question I ask in the workshop is, reading behind these letters that are going around, can you detect what kind of debates are going on? What is at stake for people? What kind of groups are people separating themselves into? Where are the tensions and the clashes? And so I'm putting you that question to do just on your own. And then later this week, I'll actually upload the lecture about the Deuteropaulines and the pastoral epistles. And so that will be the big reveal to see how you did on your own, looking through the primary text workshop. Then I'll give you the lecture that was supposed to come after it. What else is on Moodle for you right now? Your chapter 25 of your textbook on the pastorals has been scanned and uploaded to Moodle in case anyone finds themselves sadly without their textbook at home. I scanned a bonus chapter as well from your textbook. You're not going to be tested on this bonus chapter, but it's the chapter on women in Paul and women in the pastorals. Because some people have asked about that and said they specifically want to maybe write their dissertation about that or are interested in that. So I put that chapter in there, but don't worry about it. It's not going to be covered on your take-home exam. It's just for fun for people who have that interest. So that's in there too. And then there's a bonus video lecture on the Deuteropaulines. It's a lecture that was given at Yale University. So I thought I would add that too, because the lecturer uses the same textbook that we're using. So it's basically a lecture on the chapter that you were supposed to read for this week. Later this week, I will be adding my lecture on the pseudo-Paulines, or the Disputed Paulines, and the pastorals. But for now, I leave you with this challenge. Look through these primary texts without any background, without any lecture, and put on your detective hat and try to detect what's going on in terms of how later people are reading Paul and using Paul and interpreting Paul, and then interpreting Paul in different directions and fighting about that. That's the kind of sleuthing work I'd like you to try and do with these primary texts, and then I'll give you a lecture with more background on that later this week. I hope everyone's doing well. I miss you. Bye.